Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Boston. And this morning, we're beginning with our usual wonderful song. And this is, of course, our wonderful Karen Drucker singing Stand. So let's just take this music in and enjoy.
For years I would talk about how I wanted to change the world, but I always left it up for someone else to do. But then I finally realized I needed to take a stand, and that by changing my thinking I could change my life, and that's how I could change the world. So let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand. I'm gonna stand up for joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Love. I am a stand for joy. I am a stand. We are making a new world now. I know we are making a new world now. I can see it. We are making a new world now.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So, are we doing
We absolutely so grateful to be here with everyone this morning. Just want to say hello, and knowing that everyone is staying safe on this beautiful day. And regardless of what it looks like, the sun is shining right here because CSL Boston is exactly where we are. Right here. There's only one. So just picture that sun shining. So I want to share what we give to the world. And we awaken individual magnificence, change thinking, and expand consciousness. How powerful is that? And if you can say it with me, what I'd love to do is say this with me now. I awaken my individual magnificence, transform my thinking, and expand my consciousness. One more time, let's say that and affirm that right here and right now. I awaken my individual magnificence, transform my thinking, and expand my consciousness. And so it is. So I am blessed to be here for this invocation this morning and bringing in the light, the love, the peace that is right where we are. There's nowhere to go for it. It's always existing right where we are. But is it always in our experience? So being here, making that conscious choice to be here, I say thank you. Thank you for bringing your light, your intention, your love. What a gift it is to be here with you. Because right here, right now, in this oneness is all that there is. That one power, that one presence, that is love and joy and peace and harmony. It is good and only good. That love that I am, that power that I am. I am that I am presence. And as I know that of me, I know that of Rev G. I know that of Reverend Cindy, who is here with us today. I know that of each one watching. And of each one that hasn't found us but is finding their way to us right here and right now. I know in the one mind that there is only that one, and I am that power, that presence, that each one is that inlet and outlet of spirit. And I am so grateful to be in that knowing right here and right now. I am so grateful to know that this message today is that power, is that absolute one mind living and breathing and having its being in, through, and as Rev G and Rev Cindy. So grateful to know that each one that receives this gift is lifted by it. And I know that they are the place that God shows up today, as is each one. So knowing that truth, knowing that light, and so grateful for all that is about to unfold joyously, I say thank you. Thank you, thank you. Setting it free, I say amen and blessed be. And together we say, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Practitioner Gina, for that beautiful invocation, setting our tone this morning. So, in 1927, Ernest Holmes was asked, what do you believe? And he came up with these wonderful statements of truth that are our guiding principles in Centers for Spiritual Living. And so this month we are sharing the 8th one, as there are 11 of them. And since we are in August, so I want to share what he said about what we believe. And actually, he said what I believe, and we'll do that second. But what he said is this: we believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. That's a powerful realization when we think about what he's saying in that statement. So now what I'd like to have us all do is to join together in the I statement so that we can claim this for ourselves. And I always say that if the word God for you is a difficult word, because I know that I had to heal it for myself, that you can use any word. You can use the universe. You can use the absolute. You can use any word you want for this creative intelligence that we all are a part of and use. So let's do this I statement together. I believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that I am surrounded by this creative mind which receives the direct impress of my thought and acts upon it. Mm-mm-mm. Such a powerful, powerful statement. And what I'm going to ask, if we make a little switch in our order this morning and have Gina, if you could do our reading for us, and then we'll go to our music this morning, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. So today I have chosen a poem that I had written called The Power of Perspective, because truly, spirit is always there, but am I paying attention? So, the power of perspective. Rain brings dark clouds and often keeps us inside, but it also cleanses and nourishes, without which nothing would grow. The ocean is vast and mighty, yet its totality is in every drop. Life's choices unlimited, but you don't know which will last. Loss leaves us feeling empty, yet it makes space for the new and bold. Beauty is precious and uplifting, yet it rests in the one who beholds. Your soul is endless into infinity, yet some never listen or act. Your power is infinite, but only if you know it. Your wisdom is omniscient, but you must be still to know it. Every aspect of life is choice, yet some taken unconsciously. Each person a vast resource, as they are part of how you learn and the eyes in which you see through. Your life is your playground. Each day is a gift to live, love, and grow with spirit within your divinity. So shine your light consciously. It's your gift you bring to the world. It sees your best and boldest. So hopefully you've come to play in this world. And so it is.
Thank you, Gina. That was just wonderful. Perfect for today. So now I want to share a song with you, and I want to preface this song with how it deeply moved me. This young man has been teased all of his life for having a high voice. And he was on America's Got Talent last night on the show, and I really want to share this with you. It's a song that actually I was looking for last Sunday when we were sparking imagination with Rev Ed and I, and yet it fits perfectly today when we talk about the idea of the GPS. So just sit back and really just listen to the beauty of this song, which is one of my favorites, Pure Imagination from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. What you'll see will defy explanation. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation. What you'll see will defy explanation. If you wanna view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. What
Oh my. Let me get my composure back here. It brings tears to my eyes. And God bumps to my body. So as we begin this day, I want to welcome Rev Cindy as she joins us this morning for our sacred conversation. And I just like to always preface, as we move along here, that we, of course, are following the Center for Spiritual Living's annual theme, and that annual theme is timeless wisdom, evolutionary vision. And such a beautiful thing. And then, of course, for August, we are in a pause for guidance. And today we're talking about GPS. And we can call it the global positioning system, but I like to call it the God positioning system. So my wondrous and glorious sister from another mister, Rev Cindy, graduating in the same class from the Florida campus together. It was such a joy, and in your community down there in Ocala, Florida. So when we talk about this idea of the God positioning system, what does that bring up for you in your mind when you think about that?
Wow, so much. First, I want to say thank you for asking me to join you this morning. I was even surprised that you guys were doing a broadcast as I was watching about the hurricane hitting. And as Gina mentioned, the sun is shining actually here in Florida. So that wasn't I didn't have to imagine much. So I'm sending you sunshine from here to up there in New England. So thanks again, George. The God positioning system, I just love that. It's an analogy that I use a lot in a lot of different ways. The first thing I think about myself, because this is how I teach it, is a chart by David Hawkins. Do you know the book Power versus Force?
No, I don't think I'm familiar with that book.
It's just a phenomenal book, Power versus Force. What he's done, what David Hawkins, who's a physician, I guess, and a PhD as well, has taken our scale of emotions and put them on a scale. So at the very bottom, like the worst emotion there is that you can feel is shame. And then from there, you move up to grief and maybe anger, and then pride, and everything flips from being in a place of force and kind of a negative connotation when you get to courage. And when you get to courage, it flips over into owning your power. And then we get into emotions, like joy and love and bliss, all those things at the top. So when I think God positioning system, I think, where am I on that scale? And where do I want to be? If I start the day in the morning and I'm feeling great, and I go outside and I'm in the middle of traffic and suddenly, I go to anger, the things come out of my mouth. Like, is that the direction that I really want to go? Right? So Spirit shows me in my emotions where I am, that God positioning system, so I can always, get a check on myself, right?
Yes.
And I just want to also clarify that all of our emotions serve a purpose. There's a reason for them being there, right? So if shame is the very worst thing there is, and then you find yourself in a feeling of anger, that's a really good move. That's actually a very positive mood, because it's bringing you higher up on that scale of emotion.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that actually makes me think of this amazing quote. And this, Ernest Holmes at the Sermon by the Sea, it's one of my favorite, things that he did. And it was the last thing he actually gave our organization before he made his transition. And I just love this statement that he says in this. We have discovered that which the great, the good, and the wise have sung about and thought about, the imprisoned splendor within ourselves and within each other, and have direct contact with it. He speaks to my heart with that, that imprisoned splendor, right? And you talk about that, and you were talking about shame. when we are in shame, that imprisoned splendor is still imprisoned. It can't come forward because we're holding back our gifts. And our gifts are given to us by the divine, by the universe, by whatever we want to call that greater good, that greater idea. So when you think of imprisoned splendor, can you think of a time in your life when you were in that place of imprisoning your splendor?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's, I'm starting to put my own personal website together. So I've been thinking a lot about these things and my spiritual journey, and it more than half my life, I would say, I lived in a place of just feeling like a victim. Why me? Why do these things keep happening to me? How did I get in this, predicament? And, and thinking and believing like the world believes, like life is happening to me, and then finding the Center for Spiritual Living in Ocala, which was called Oak Brook Life Enrichment Center at the time. I was looking for articles on spirituality and parenting. So I didn't know we weren't called Centers for Spiritual Living back then. It was just, straight up science of mind. And so I went to this place looking for articles on spiritual parenting, and I found this amazing woman minister who talked about Jesus and Buddha and something I don't even remember, the Quran or the Bhagavad Gita. It was like, holy cow, where am I? Boom. Mind blown. And I just had to get more. But that was the beginning. That, before that, I just lived in that place of victimhood and why me and what am I doing wrong? And I think in a lot of ways, I know there are a lot of people walking around like that.
Oh, yeah.
That we get programmed from the time that we are children, that we are flawed, that we are broken, that we need a savior to complete us, right? Somebody else, something outside of us to make us whole. Right. And, it's just part of the BS that surrounds us that, is kind of part of the human experience that we need to decipher, what is true about all of this stuff that I've been taught and told.
Right.
And so the science of mind, this teaching, this philosophy, this community has helped me to release so much of that yuck and those lies so that I could find that splendor that's within, that has always been there. Right.
Exactly. And that's the thing for me. I remember the first time that I actually walked into a Unity church. That was like the first church that I walked into, a New Thought church, and just sitting there and crying because I knew that I had found home. I knew that I had found a message that was what I needed to hear at that time in my life and what I had always believed at the core of my being. And I hear that in you too. It was like that core of your being was saying, who is this and why are they talking about all these different people? But it was questioning in a way that there was a part of you that knew that. Would you agree there was a part of you that knew what she was talking about was the truth,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if you remember this, George, if you did this class, if we weren't together, but it was on conflict resolution. And the book we were studying was called The Eye of the Storm, the letter I, right? The Eye of the Storm. And there's a meditation in the beginning of that book, and I highly, highly recommend it to anybody to read this thing, especially now in these times of high conflict and drama. But the meditation at the beginning takes you back to the time before you're born. You're a disincarnate soul floating in the Milky Way galaxy, and a call goes out for volunteers to come to planet Earth because it is in jeopardy. And so we signed on. This is, it's of course it's an imaginary thing. It's a guided meditation. I use this with a lot of different groups, and and some people get really worked up about it. Some people get really upset. Most people just go with the flow and start to see and kind of feel like, oh my gosh, this kind of feels like it could be true. So you pick everything in this meditation. You pick your siblings, you pick your parents, you choose your gender, you choose where you're going to be born, like everything. And all of it situates you perfectly for the work that you're here to do when you come to planet Earth. Except here's the catch. When you're born into human form, you forget all of that. And your task as you go through this human experience is to get back in touch with the truth that you came here for a purpose. And you start to unpack and to uncover what that is. And you reach a point in your life where you go, oh my God, everything was perfectly situated to bring me to the point where I am.
I love that. And, it reminds me because, we had Doreen Kleinschmidt in our community, and I always remember she was a yoga instructor, and she was so powerful in this. She used to say to us, she says, well, we drop into the body and we forget who we are. And that's exactly what you're talking about, because we're coming, for me, this is my belief, but I think it's a belief that tends to be more universal in than we realize. And that's that when we come here, we have lost all of the realizations that we received as we were in that all-knowing energy, that allness, that oneness, complete oneness, because we talk about oneness on this physical level, and it's different for us, but when we are in the, I like to call it when we're in the veil, when we're in that veil of the divine, which I like to consider we're just like this energy that floats in there. And as soon as we drop out of it, we forget who we are, and we have to start. And that begins the journey of remembering who we are.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I feel so blessed that I found this teaching when I found it, because it definitely shifted and changed my life. And, when we talk about shame or blame or any of those things that keep us from having the life that we want, I love this quote by Ernest Holmes. And this one is one of those that I love because it reminds us of why this power is working, even when it appears not to be working. And so he says, the law, oops, wait a minute, sorry, that's the wrong one. Excuse me. Oh, I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so hence it follows that if we believe that it will not work, it really works by appearing not to work. When we believe that it cannot and will not, then according to the principles, it does not. But when it does not, it simply does it does according to our belief that it will not. That's a lot to unpack, but it's so true, right? If I don't believe it's going to work, I'm going to actually dam up the possibility of the creative universe to come into my life fully and wholly, right?
Of course. It's done unto us as we believe, right?
Exactly.
It's not done unto us. You think it's not done unto us as we deserve. It's not done unto us as we wish. It's not done unto us as we dream. It's done unto us as we believe.
Yes.
Right?
And that's
anything else outside of that,
Exactly. Everything.
Right?
Exactly. So when we talk about this idea of the God positioning system, I've just been through that, as I shared last week, that I, and Rev Ed, both of us have been through that. And, and I had to listen and I had to follow. Now, sometimes the God positioning system doesn't give me the stuff I want to hear. But if I trust and I know that Spirit will guide me to the right direction, so this whole idea of me stepping down as a spiritual leader at Center for Spiritual Living Greater Boston, Rev Ed's and my baby, we are the founders of this community. And yet I had to follow the guidance that I was receiving. Otherwise, and I love this, otherwise, that I used to love this about the old GPA systems. They'd say recalculating. Remember that? Recalculating. Otherwise, it's going to recalculate, and I may not like the direction it takes me, right?
Yeah.
because it's always trying to bring that truth forward, and yet sometimes it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine a time in your life where, you know, you made it recalculate a few times?
Oh, many times. Many times, and life will just keep rerouting you, you know, and you can get ticked off at it. You ever get mad at your GPS? Like,
Oh, yeah.
stop already with that.
Why didn't you tell me that turn sooner so I could be in that lane and get there?
Right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The creative intelligence does so many amazing things in our world. And I think that realizing and recognizing that is such an important and powerful part of our work in the world, especially here at Centers for Spiritual Living, because we're here to welcome people in to wherever they are on their journey. And I like to say that we are the spiritual home of the religiously wounded many times, because people come to us who have been wounded by religion.
Yeah.
I know that I had my wounds from religion. I remember when I was working with the children's chorus in a Presbyterian church that I was a part of. This was in the mountains of California in Idlewild. And, you know, I was the director of a musical with the children. And, you know, it was very nice that the minister's wife was always there with me because she knew that I was gay. And when it came to a point when I was going to be leaving that community and moving to the desert where I wouldn't be coming to that community anymore, she felt the need to give me a card that said, I hope you have all the possibilities of getting your life straight, in quotation marks.
Ooh.
And, you know, I could have taken that very personally, but I did actually speak with the pastor, her husband, and he was so wonderful. What he said to me was, he says, you have to excuse my wife. She is a turn or burn Christian. And so she was in that belief that if you don't turn, you're going to burn in hell. And so it gave me compassion because I did love her. She was a really wonderful person, and I really enjoyed her presence and her power and all that she was. And she had been such a great help for the many years that we had done this annual musical in the church. We actually built clouds so we could have heaven. my brother Mark had helped me build clouds. We had chicken wire on forms, and then we had this cotton mat on it. It was so sweet. But it was a blessing in many ways because it's been a part of my life, all my life, you know, of having people tell me what they think I should be or what I should do. And knowing that I don't need to be or do any of the things that others tell me, that what I really need to follow is the God positioning system that is guiding me to where I should be and where I ought to be. I like to say ought be because I don't like to say should, because, you know, or could be, yes.
Right, or it could be.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I mean, it's a powerful and important part of, you know, this teaching to welcome people in exactly where they are. And I feel blessed that I have touched so many lives here at the center, just through the many years that Rev Ed and I have been in service in Boston. And I feel blessed to be able to move on, knowing that this community is held by Spirit. And that this community will absolutely unfold into its next greatest yet to be.
Right.
So,
you know, there's that saying, I forget the movie. Everything turns out okay in the end.
Oh, yeah, from
Magnolia something.
That's the Little Marigold Hotel, something
there
like
you
that.
Go.
I know what you're talking about.
Flower.
Exactly.
That's the Marigold Hotel. Yes, everything turns out okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end.
I love that line. That is one of my favorite lines from the movie. Yes, absolutely. It's so powerful.
Yeah. So, you know, when you're in the thick of it, when you're in the mess, you know, you just don't camp out there.
Right. Exactly.
You keep on going. Listen to the GPS. You may not like the direction it's telling you. It may be feeling like, oh, this doesn't seem right. Listen to the GPS because it's going to keep routing you to where you need to go.
You know, I have actually second guessed the GPS on a couple of times when it said turn here. And I thought, oh, no, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to go straight because I know that'll get me to where I want to go. And then I end up in a traffic jam. And it was trying to reroute me around the traffic jam.
Isn't that fun?
And it knew things that I didn't know, you know. So, and that's the thing. There's always good in everything. And it's about really building that faith and that trust that Spirit is not taking us down a messy path. It may look messy on the human level, but it never does. Yeah. It never does, you know. It's all a part of our personal unfoldment into the greater good. So,
absolutely. I just love that idea, you know, and knowing that that's part of that faith, George, and the belief that life is ultimately conspiring on our behalf, right? That things are good. That things are good. And I've been thinking a lot, you know, like I said, looking at my website, just thinking about why can't we own that? You know, what is so scary? I think what's scary for us is in that ego mode, that human mode, that if I acknowledge that everything is just as it should be, that life is good, that God loves me, like what job is there then for the ego to do?
Yeah, what is it to protect us from, right?
Yeah, you know, stirring the pot. Well, you know, why? There's nothing there, you know?
I know. That ego, well, you know what ego stands for, right? Edging God out. You know?
Yes, yeah. So, and in some of us, it's stronger than in others.
Yes.
Right? And in some of us, it has those tentacles, you know, like I talked about, that things that happen to you when you're in childhood. It can really get a grip on you. And you think this is the way life is. This is, you know, it's a bad, scary place out there. I have to protect myself.
Yeah.
You know, at all times. And when that drama happens and it's profound and it'll stick with you. It'll stick with you. It
definitely does. And you carry it with you.
And you carry it and you believe that more than the other idea that, you know, life is really good and you know, and there's a God that loves me. And not only is there a God somewhere, but it's part of me. Like it almost seems like it's just too much to believe. It's too good to be true.
Exactly. You know, I know when I first kind of came to this, there was parts of me that was like, oh, come on, you know, that can't be right, you know. And then, but as I did it, you know, that's the whole thing, is like when we practice what we learn in the center, we find that it is working, that it does fulfill, that it does move forward, that it does come into form in the way that we're being taught. But it is about it's you know, Revette and I spoke last week about faith, you know, and you were talking about courage. And I loved what he said. He said that it is faith that builds us into courage, because you have to have the faith in order for courage to take place.
Of a mustard seed, just a little teeny tiny spit, right? The faith the size of a mustard seed. Like you just need the tiniest, smallest bit.
Exactly.
So I think I can do this. Because if you don't have that, you're not even going to try.
Yeah. Right? You know, it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that about the mustard seed, because I remember my first prayer stole when I was a practitioner that they gave me. It had one mustard seed sewed into that stole. Sweet. And I loved that whole consciousness of that mustard seed is right here, and I wear this when I pray with others. And I thought, wow, it was just such a powerful thing. And it is a powerful thing that mustard seed is amazing and grows into, you know, a large plant.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, we see that of all seeds, really. You know, it's interesting because here at the here at the campground that we're in, a lady planted sunflowers along the back here. And these sunflowers are huge. And you think of that little tiny sunflower seed, right? And these things are taller than me.
Yeah.
And their leaves are like almost as big as my head. It's like, it's so powerful to realize that that's how life can work, right? That we can
It
take
is
that.
how it works.
It is how it works, exactly.
It is how it works. We're having the faith.
Right.
We have the faith that the good thing is going to happen, or we have the faith that the bad thing is going to happen.
Right, right.
Right?
Well,
so either way, it's happening.
Right, exactly. And that was that quote that, I read earlier was, Ernest Holmes was saying, it's either working for you by not working or it's working for you by working. And I'm working it, right? I'm believing,
Exactly.
I'm building that faith. I'm building that trust, knowing that God has got this, and that's what the GPS is. So I think for me, it's like when we talk about this to our communities, it's talking about trusting that GPS, trusting that God positioning system is always working for your higher and better good. And that's what I think that I would like to call our community to this week, is to trust your GPS, your God positioning system, to take you to the next greatest yet to be in your life. Doesn't that sound like a great call for people for action?
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. I want to thank you so much, Rev Cindy, for stepping in suddenly. It was interesting that you reached out to us this morning, and Rev Ed couldn't be here, and there you were, and I look forward to this afternoon being with you in your community on your that's at 3:00 Eastern, right?
Yes, you're gonna be with us. It's so fun, I just love how things are connected, how spirit works. I woke up this morning thinking about the two of you and the storm that was headed, to the northeast. When I went to bed, that was one of the last things I saw. So you were on my mind, and I picked up my phone and I had a message from Ed with a picture of the two of us saying, "I just love this picture of us." And I thought, that is just so awesome. There is really only one mind. So of course we had the conversation, and here we are. Everything unfolding in its perfect and right divine order.
Beautiful.
Everything.
Absolutely.
We just need to show up.
Yes. So I want to thank you again for doing this. And I would just love to ask you to pray us out. But I wanted you to pray towards that direction of everyone being able to be empowered to trust their God positioning system.
Yeah. All right. So take a moment. Let's just get into the silence and quiet our minds and relax our bodies, and just know that there is one power and presence that runs in and around and through all things. It's part of me, it's part of Rev George and Rev Ed and Gina and every part of this beautiful congregation, everyone who is within the sound of my voice. And I just give thanks for this time that we have spent together, for the ideas that we've shared and the love and the laughter, and knowing that all of it goes into positioning us for exactly where we need to be, to do what it is that we came here to do. I just affirm, I know that each one of us has that God positioning system within us. And so I affirm that each one that is listening to this gets an opportunity to tap into that and to really feel that and to trust the divine guidance that comes from that God positioning system, to know that everything is indeed okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. We just keep on going. I affirm that anything that looks like an obstacle is actually a stepping stone for anyone that is listening to this, that all of those challenges that may be painful and difficult are actually portals, opportunities for us to reach that greater yet to be. And so I affirm peace, I affirm comfort, I affirm compassion, and I affirm joy for each one. And I release these words into the law, knowing that it is already done with gratitude and joy and great expectation. And I claim it and release it with the words, and so it is. Amen. Ashe.
Thank you so much. And so it is.
And so it is.
Beautiful message from both of you. Thank you so much. What a gift it is to be here and bask in the light here, and knowing that there is only light, regardless of where we are. The sun is out.
Yes, the sun is really out.
We're bringing the light.
Look at how bright my head is.
And
I got a skylight, and the light is just like, yeah. So it's sunny and bright in Florida.
Beautiful. And I'm bringing the affirmation for today. If everyone can affirm with me, I hear the divine voice and let it express love through me. And again, if everyone can just be in that and share that, I hear the divine voice and let it express love through me. And so it is.
And so it is.
So it
I
is.
didn't even know that was the affirmation for today. I love it. And I went, Gina, I loved your poem. It was so beautiful. Just all of the pieces, the music, the conversation. It was all really beautiful. And I thank you for having me as your guest.
And thank you, Cindy, for joining us.
All righty.
All right. So now is the time in our service when we talk about our giving. And I'd like us to read together our giving statement. So hopefully everyone can see that on the screen. And I'm sure Rev Cindy knows this because I actually borrowed this from her community. So sharing our gifts. It is the nature of life to give of itself, as it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom. It is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am grateful. And so as we talk about this giving circulation practice, I always like to offer this to anyone who is at home and wants to be a part of that circulation. You can text GIVE and the amount to 833-581-0669. Or if you go to paypal.me/CSL Greater Boston, you'll find us there. Or you can go to our website, cslboston.org, and click on the donate button, and that will also allow you to give to us through PayPal. We are grateful for all of your gifts.
And I have our announcements for today. So grateful to be here, and what a wonderful celebration. Thank you for the beautiful message. Rev G, Rev Cindy, thank you for being here. And knowing that we have a couple of things coming up. The first thing I wanted to mention is on the 27th, which is the last Sunday of the month, we have our workshop, which is actually, this isn't the one from this week. It's the sacred love is actually, sometimes it's just life is funny sometimes. We go with the flow, don't we? We have a workshop always, though, the last one of the month, and knowing that it is unfolding perfectly. It is actually about the sacred self this month. And knowing that that sacred self, are we treating ourselves the way we choose to? Are we being that? Are we really allowing ourselves to unfold in the beauty and the magnificence that we are? So that is actually the last I believe it's the 29th, which is the last Sunday, and it's right after service. And if you can be in person in Medford, be there with us. And if not, then via Zoom is great. So join us if you can. There's more details on Facebook. And I also, we're visioning for this perfect and beautiful, magnificent unfoldment of this beloved community. So every Wednesday at 7 p.m. is visioning. There's a Zoom link in our newsletter, as well as it's in the weekly newsletter that goes out, but also on Facebook. So join us for that as well. Just be that channel for spirit to allow something even greater, because there's always greater. When we connect, that power is amazing. And the last thing I wanted to share is the fact that we have fellowship. Be here with us in fellowship. Come via Zoom and come to us and just know that we are here and we want to share the time with each other, and knowing that everyone is exactly where they need to be, safe, guarded, guided, and lovingly protected. So knowing all is well today, I thank you for being here. And I'm so grateful to be a part of this beloved community. Thank you all for being here.
Yes. And of course, the Zoom information is on the screen for you. If you wish to join us in Zoom, the ID number there, along with the passcode. If you're watching at home, you can always do a screenshot. I always love when you say that, Gina. So
it makes it so easy. Then you always have it, right?
Then you have it. Exactly.
The meeting ID is 990-6825-1729, passcode 014254. And of course, it's on Facebook as well.
Yes, absolutely. And in the newsletter. So beautiful. All right. Well, I just want to thank our beloved Rev Cindy for joining us this morning and making our service so full and beautiful. As always, which you do, you bring that always, and I'm always so grateful for that. And I'm grateful for you, Gina, for all that you've done to go with the flow, because we know that that's what happens with these live activities, that we never know how Spirit's going to unfold it. So I just want to wish everyone a beautiful and blessed day. And we always say, and namaste.
Namaste.